Welcome to Saga Sessions, a show where we explore, analyze, and discuss our favorite stories. Before Robert Eggers' Nosferatu released in theaters on Christmas Day 2024, my friend Robert and I sat down to record a series of conversations on Eggers' first three films, The Witch, The Lighthouse, and The Northman. They were meant to come out before the release of Nosferatu, but they were never fully edited for viewing, until now. You can also check out our full Nosferatu movie review here on the channel by clicking on the card above. This is part 2 of our Eggers series, where we dive into the strange, hypnotic world of The Lighthouse. If you missed our discussion on The Witch, start there, and stay tuned for our final episode on The Northman. I hope you guys enjoy. Now we turn our attention toward The Lighthouse, which is very low on plot.
Heavy on vibes.
Heavy on vibes.
Heavy on vibes.
The movie can be summed up by addressing three main questions. And I'm going to pose those questions to you, Robert, and I want to see
Go for it.
what you have to say. Question number 1. Who goes mad? Robert Pattinson or Willem Dafoe?
They're both kind of crazy. I think that Pattinson, though, is the one that kind of goes off his rocker first. I mean, well, like, Willem Dafoe is already off his rocker in the beginning, but, like, he's not trying to kill anybody because of it. Pattinson's character, I think, is the first to break. And I think that because if there had to be a main character in this movie, it would be him.
He also lied about his name, right? He was involved in, I suppose, a case of manslaughter.
Yeah, it's kind of, you piece it together throughout the movie. He's killed someone. He was like a timberman. He worked with trees and wood and stuff before this, and he killed someone. You see visions of it throughout the movie.
And he takes on the name of the man he killed.
Yeah.
Do you think Pattinson's character goes mad when he falls from the pulley system, when he's whitewashing the
lighthouse?
The lighthouse? Because everything seems normal up until that point, and then he falls, and it cuts to black, and then he wakes up, and then everything starts going downhill.
Yeah, well, I think that was like a big step in his kind of journey, or in his descent into madness. That's a pretty big like breaking
his
point.
Journey.
And yeah, like the whole thing is that this is not a fun job that he's working, and Willem Dafoe is kind of his boss, and he kind of feels like Willem Dafoe is using his title and his position and his authority to give him, Robert Pattinson, like all of the breakneck jobs, doing all the hard work and stuff. Meanwhile, Willem Dafoe's character seems most focused with just tending the light, which, you know, Robert Pattinson kind of aspires to do. And so it's just kind of this added mounting kind of pressure of just like Pattinson's character feeling like he's being used and abused and getting tired and having to do this like really, really rough work day in and day out over and over and over again. That mounts until it reaches a breaking point. And like it is a very gradual breaking of his character, but I do think that him falling from the lighthouse or the pulley system while whitewashing the lighthouse is a significant moment.
Okay. We will come back to the light itself in just a second, but question number 2, why were they left there? Do you have a supposition?
I mean, I don't know because like this is kind of like around the point of the movie where things start to get a little fever dreamy and abstract, and you actually don't know what's happening and what's not happening at this point because things get really wonky pretty fast. Or not pretty fast, but gradually. And at this point, it's pretty close to full throttle. I think like the easy answer, like the easiest answer that you can give is Willem Dafoe warns Pattinson not to kill a seagull because they've got the souls of dead sailors inside of them. But one day, Robert Pattinson, in a very memorable moment, in a very memorable scene, just is like, has had it up to here with the stuff that he's had to do. And he grabs a seagull that's kind of been pestering him and like it seems like mocking him for a while. And he grabs it and just starts slamming it over and over and over into this rock well. and just like absolutely obliterating it beyond recognition. And after that scene, you see the little wind thing on the top of the lighthouse or the shed or whatever it is. The wind changes direction.
The weather vane?
And the wind changes direction, and the wind that is now coming is the wind that brings this huge, relentless storm that kind of prevents the boat from coming back out and reaching being able to drop off the new people and take them back because the weather's so bad they'd crash up against the rocks.
I never thought of that. So I guess finally, question number 3. What is in the lighthouse? Is there actually something other than just a source of light? Or is it all because they're mad? Because we know at the end, when Pattinson himself finally goes into the lighthouse, the glass pane opens up for him and he sees something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure that if you delved into kind of like some of the mythology that Robert Eggers may have been influenced by, you may be able to get more of a concrete answer. At this point, the movie is metaphorical, so it does lose its foot on reality quite a bit, and it could be going full-fledged metaphor mode and lost its footing in, reality completely. I know that, you can make a parallel between Robert Pattinson's character and then the story of the Greek myth of Prometheus, the guy who stole the fire from the top of the mountain. And
the last time we see Robert Pattinson's character, he's having his liver eaten by a bunch of seagulls, and we all know that Prometheus was chained up to the side of a cliff, and every day a
bird, maybe a raven,
some kind of bird would come and eat his liver, which would regenerate every day, and he'd have to endure it, day after day after day.
Because he went up onto Mount Olympus, right, and tried to steal fire from the gods.
He did steal fire from the gods, and he gave it to mankind.
And so it's just kind of you can draw a parallel between those two things, and I don't know, draw meaning from that if there is any to be found. I think that that's a pretty clear reference though in the story. But yeah, as to your question, what is actually in the light, I don't know. I don't know if anyone knows. I don't even know if Robert Eggers knows. I think it's just something that happens.
Isn't there a scene somewhere in the film though where we see tentacles?
Yeah, Robert Pattinson sneaks up while Willem Dafoe is up tending the light in the middle of the night. He can't sleep, and so because this question of the light, what's happening up in the lighthouse is kind of driving him wild, and he looks up and he there's tentacles, and I think it's almost either something else is up there with him, or Willem Dafoe has turned into this tentacled being. If that is true, it wouldn't be the only time that Willem Dafoe has shapeshifted in this movie.
When's the other time that he shapeshifted?
It's towards the end when they're fighting each other, and Robert Pattinson's got him pinned down, and he's throwing punches at him, and it's just shot, reverse shot, and it's Willem Dafoe, and he's got all these barnacles and he looks like he's transformed into some deranged, diseased merman.
Oh, I forgot about that. My favorite part of the movie is when he being Robert Pattinson convinces Willem Dafoe that he's a dog, and he puts him on a leash, walks him outside.
Weird part of the movie.
Ruff, ruff,
yeah.
ruff. Then he buries him alive.
I mean, man, sometimes I think about what it takes to be a director in terms of asking actors to do something for your movie, and how that can kind of get you can kind of put them in situations where it's pretty a difficult ask. And for me, this is a pretty good example of oh yeah, can you get on all fours and bark like a dog for me, and then get in this hole so you can get buried alive, because Willem Dafoe talks about filming that experience, about how it was one of the most unpleasant filming experiences of his life, the entire shoot, but that moment specifically where he's got to be, because he's monologuing whilst having dirt thrown onto his face, and you see the dirt getting into his mouth, and he's got to talk through it.
I always wondered if that was dirt or
it's dirt.
Cake mix or something like that.
It's actually dirt.
Ugh.
Yeah, he was on board with it because he's Willem Dafoe, but yeah. He was like, it was one of my least favorite experiences I've had in shooting a movie ever.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Okay, what would you give The Lighthouse on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm going to give it like a light 7. I think I love it. I think it looks great. I think it's full of good acting and writing, but at the end of the day, the story is like
Non-existent.
non-existent. Yeah, there's not much of a story there, and like it doesn't go too off the walls, because I love movies that get off the walls and are pretty crazy. But the question that I always like have walked away with it from watching this movie is like, for what? Like, okay, there's kind of like a lack of care that I have for the events that happen in this movie, just because they're not very grounded into like a narrative.
Fair. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8. The only thing keeping it from a 9 is, as you mentioned, lack of plot, lack of narrative. But I just have a great time watching it, watching two fantastic actors play men who are just losing their minds while stuck in solitude on some mysterious island with a lighthouse that we know absolutely nothing about and never do by the end of the film.
I've always thought that this would be a very funny movie to show someone who's only ever seen Robert Pattinson in Twilight.
I can see
because he's gone on to be like a very prolific and talented actor, but still most of people's references for him are the Twilight movies.
During the height of Twilight, and this is totally off topic, but during the height of Twilight, do you think anybody anywhere in the world watched those movies and said, one day he's going to be Batman?
No. I mean, maybe, actually. It could have come up, like, I can see it coming up jokingly, because vampires and bats are kind of synonymous. And
I never made that.
Yeah.
I never made
it's
that
not a
connection.
far jump from, like, a vampire to a Batman.
Well, that's our take on The Lighthouse. That means we have one film left. My favorite. Thank you, everyone, for attending this Saga Session. We hope you'll join us next time for our review and breakdown of Robert Eggers' The Northman.